What's up guys, Infernape here. Now I'm sure a vast majority of you believe that, well, the main aspect of the Pokemon anime is the battling. Like, the battles is pretty much the main part of the story. So, I'm going to be going over what I believe are the best battles from every season in Pokemon. Now, I'm only be going over Season 1 to Season 24. I'm not going to be going over Season 25 because that hasn't been finished yet, and we don't know all of the battles in that season so far. So, I'm going to be going over all of the complete seasons. Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below if you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it, if any of your favourite battles want on here, if you have your own favourite battles that I didn't mention, and if you have any video suggestions for the future, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. So without further ado, let's get into the video! So to kick things off, we're going to be going over Season 1, that being the Indigo League. And I feel like this battle is quite a fan favourite, if I'm honest. Like, if you've seen the original season of Pokemon, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw this coming. But my favourite battle from the original season is Ash vs Blaine. More specifically, the battle between Magmar and Charizard over the volcano. That was by far one of the sickest Pokemon battles ever in the anime. Holy crappo! This thing was by far one of the best battles ever. Like, up until that point, Charizard just didn't listen to Ash, didn't want to battle, and didn't give a fuck. But then he saw Magmar, and saw it as a worthy opponent to battle against. So he wanted to see what kind of strength Magmar had. And when we had that battle, holy crap, that was a fight and a half. Even though I saw what was coming, even I was nervous the first time I ever saw that battle, because Charizard and Magmar were flung into a volcano. Like, yes, I saw the outcome, but I was still on the edge of my seat and was very, very nervous. And that seismic toss, chef's kiss. In Season 2, which is the Orange Islands, we didn't really see too many outstanding battles, but there were some really, really good battles in there as well. But I'm pretty sure everyone can see what battle is coming, because it's the only battle that more or less matters. But my favourite battle from Season 2 was Ash vs Drake. Ash vs Drake was hype. Literally, this battle was legendary. Like, Drake was an undefeated trainer. He has never been beaten before. We don't know how long he's been undefeated, but he is still a phenomenal trainer. And all because of a Dragonite that knew 10 attacks. Because, in case you guys didn't know, up until Generation 4, Pokemon can have unlimited amounts of attacks. Then in the Gen 4 anime, they changed it to 4. But, still, it was an amazing battle. Like, you cannot deny that this is the stuff of legends. Next up, we've got Season 3, the Johto Journeys. Now, I can't lie, for Season 3 and Season 4, there wasn't too many battles I overly was, like, hyped over. So, I just decided to go with what I believe was the best battle in that season. And for Season 3, I decided to go with a battle that I don't think is as commonly known. That being Ash vs Shingo. Now, I'm sure some of you may be wondering, who the hell is Shingo? Well, Shingo was a one-time only character for a filler episode. Basically, he was this kid training under this guy who used to be a very powerful trainer who had a Sizzle. And then Shingo also had a Sizzle who claimed to have never have lost in a battle. So, yeah. That battle was definitely a very, very hype battle. Like, it was also the first time that Ash's Heracross ever won a battle. Like, that battle was by far one of the greatest battles in that season. Although he did try to beat Heracross using False Swipe, which, as you know, is a move that leaves your opponent on 1 HP. So I think you need to be hitting the books a little bit more, mate. Alright, now it's time for Season 4, Johto League Champions. Like I said earlier, there wasn't really too many battles that I was really thrilled about. So I just decided to pick what I believe was the best battle from that season. That being the second round of Ash vs Whitney. Like with a lot of people who have faced her, Ash lost the first time he faced Whitney. And you can't really blame him. That Miltank destroys all. So, he decided to, well, reflect upon himself. And when he defeated Team Rocket, he learned he could use that same method to defeat Miltank. So he challenged Whitney to another battle, and he said, if I win, I'll come back to the gym tomorrow, and then I'll challenge you for the badge for real. Then he used the same strategy to dig trenches. Basically, he used Cyndaquil to batter Miltank a little. Then he uses Totodile's water gun to dig trenches. Then shoved Pikachu underneath the trenches, flipped Miltank up into the air, then used Thunderbolt and KO'd Miltank. And after witnessing that, and he was like, oh my god, you've really improved. Here, have a badge. Ironic how she was willing to give Ash his badge, but in the games, you have to wait until she stops crying to then get your badge. Yeah. Really annoying. Next up is Season 5, Master Quest. And for this, I actually have a battle that I thoroughly love. And it's probably one that you lot are gonna predict. But I don't care. It's still a great battle. That being Ash vs Gary. This was legendary. By far, one of the greatest battles in the history of the Pokemon anime. By far, no hands down, one of the greatest battles ever. Like, either side could have won. It was a giant seesaw match, but in the end, and Ash eventually won, obviously. But Gary did not make it easy. If you remember the battle, in the first half, Gary took out 3 of Ash's Pokemon, and at that point, Ash had only taken out 1. But when Ash sent in his Snorlax, he managed to close the gap, because Snorlax managed to take out 2 members of Gary's team. Then, I believe it was Sizzle that did it? Sizzle took out both Snorlax and Muck with very little effort. Then, it was Ash sent out his ace-in-the-hole Charizard to then take out the Sizzle with Flamethrower, Dragon Rage a Golem with a one-hit KO, which doesn't make sense, because Dragon Rage only does 40 HP damage every single time it hits, but I guess it's a different effect in the anime. Who knows? Then, it was Charizard versus Blastoise. One legendary battle in both the anime and the games. Next is Season 6, Advanced. Now this is another one where I couldn't really find one where I overly loved the battle, so I just went over the one that I think was probably the best. That being the second battle of Ash versus Brawly. I like this one because it shows Ash going through growth. Here's what I mean. The first time he meets Brawly, he learns that he loves to spend his free time surfing, and he thinks to himself, he's not really much of a gym leader if he just goes around surfing and goofing off and having fun. So he goes into the battle thinking it was going to be a piece of cake. But then he was in for a very rude awakening. Machop took out Talo, Trico took out Machop, but it did take quite a bit of damage. And Trico didn't really do that well against Makuhita. Then when Makuhita evolved into Hariyama, things just got a lot worse. Ash blindly went into an attack. Hariyama blocked the attack and then ended it with a knockoff. After that battle, Ash thinks to himself, guess it's time to do some training. because Brawly may not seem that much of a battler, but he can definitely bring it. Ash definitely improved a lot of the battle. I don't remember it too thoroughly, but I do remember the fact that he kept on attacking Hariyama in the legs and feet, which is a very clever strategy, because if you guys didn't know, it's very strategic in a martial arts sense, because when you fight a bigger opponent, they rely a lot of their weight in their legs and feet. So if you take that away, you're pretty screwed. So I definitely think that was a clever idea on Ash's part. Now for Season 7 Advanced Challenge. Now I can definitely think of only one battle that deserves its placement on this list. It is an amazing battle. You can't go wrong with it. And if you guys haven't figured it out yet, my pick is Ash vs Norman. The first time I ever saw this battle, I never saw the first time battle with Ash versus Norman, so I didn't know too much of the outcome, but I did know that Vigoroth destroyed Pikachu. So I didn't really know how this battle was going to go. But this battle was very, very good. Like, I definitely really like this battle because it shows the growth of Ash. Because, like, he may have only had one Pokemon in the first battle, but now he's coming in with a whole army of Pokemon, as well as more experience. Plus, the battle between Slacking versus Grovyle, that was badass. Like, honestly, I didn't know who was going to win. That battle definitely could have gone to either opponent, but it was just the matter of fact that Ash's Grovyle activated Overgrow and was also very, very slightly faster, and it wouldn't surprise me if that Leaf Blade attack was a critical hit, because if you didn't know, Leaf Blade is a high crit ratio move. Still, it was a great battle. Now for Season 8, Advanced Battle. Now, I definitely would like to give an honourable mention to this before I go over my actual placement. That being Ash versus Katie in the Pokemon League. That was quite a funny battle. My personal favourite moment was Corphish versus Golduck. You know, where you use Vice Grip to give Golduck a handshake. Oh, that was jokes. But my placement for Season 8 is Ash versus Noland. Ash wanted to take on the legendary Pokemon Articuno, because, you know, he wanted to test its strength. So, he decided to use his brain for once and called in Charizard, because, you know, type advantage, experience, power. Like, you're going to need all of those things in order to take on a legendary Pokemon. And the battle went very, very interestingly. Like, at first one side had the edge, then the other side had the edge, then it was evenly matched. It was a bit of mix and match. Not to mention the fact that Articuno isn't even Noland's Pokemon, and he knows how to formulate a battle strategy with it. I got to compliment Noland on his battling skills for that. Legendary Seismic Toss. Let's be honest, you just can't imagine Ash's Charizard without Seismic Toss, even though it doesn't know it anymore. Which is a gigantic shame, because quite frankly, that is Charizard's thing. And they took away Charizard's thing and replaced it with Wing Attack, Slash, and Dragon Tail. Great thinking, Game Freak. Great thinking. Next is Season 9, Battle Frontier. Battle Frontier definitely was a very interesting season. Well, I never actually saw it on TV, which was a giant shame, so I had to go through my illegal websites in order to find them. And it was a brilliant season, no lie. But if I had to pick the best battle of all time, as well as one of my favourites, it's a no-brainer. It has to be Ash vs Brandon, Round 3. That was a brilliant battle. Like, I also was very, very touched at the fact that Ash decided to bring back his old Pokemon in order to beat him. Like, Ash decided to himself, his Pokemon aren't as experienced as Brandon's are, so he needs to formulate a strategy in order to win. And since Charizard, Bulbasaur, Squirtle and Pikachu had more experience than his other Pokemon, it makes sense to bring them back for this battle so he can become master of the battle frontier. I'm still pissed the fact that Charizard lost to a goddamn Dusclops. What are you thinking? Game creators. Well, not really game creators, anime creators. Still, what were you thinking? Like, I'm still not happy with that. And now for the greatest saga in the Pokemon anime history. Starting things off with Season 10, Diamond and Pearl. Now, it should come to no surprise to you which battle I'm going to pick. Because, you know, I love me some Sinnoh. So, I decided to go with probably, arguably the most famous battle from Season 10. That being the very first battle of Ash versus Paul. Best moment in that battle, without a shadow of a doubt, has to be Pikachu versus Elekid. It could have gone either way. Like, I didn't know who to root for. Well, obviously I was rooting for Ash, but I didn't really know who was going to win. Then it came down to a tie. And even though it was a tie, both parties were very, very salty about the outcome. Paul was so salty about it that he released his Starly and made a comment saying that there are a million other Starlies out in the world. As soon as I come across the strongest, I'll just grab it. Like, he doesn't care. He just cares about power. Like, to me, Paul is the greatest rival in all of Pokemon. Screw Alan, screw Gary, it's Paul. Now for Season 11, DP Battle Dimension. That was the very first season of Pokemon I had ever watched, so it has a very special attachment to my heart. So it was really difficult to decide which battle to pick. Should I have picked Ash versus Maylene, because that was the very first gym battle I had ever saw? Should I have picked Ash versus Crash Awake, because that was one of the very few gym battles where he won without losing a single Pokemon? But I decided to go with another battle, and I think it's just as hype. That being Ash versus Fantina. I decided to pick this one because I saw the very first battle between Ash versus Fantina, where it was an unofficial battle, no gym battle, no gym stake, just a battle for fun. And he got swept by a Drifloon that then evolved into Drifblim. That was a bit insulting to me. So I was really looking forward to seeing the rematch. And oh boy, the rematch was hype. Weasel took out Gengar with taking a little bit of damage, but nothing too major. Chimchar destroyed Miss Magius. And then Drifloon destroyed Pikachu, even though Pikachu had the type advantage, and then destroyed Weasel. Then Chimchar came to the rescue, and it was the first time we saw Chimchar beat a gym Pokemon when it was working with Ash. By far one of the greatest Pokemon moments ever, if you ask me. I loved watching that battle. By far one of the greatest battles of all time. We got to see Chimchar's potential at its fullest when it was working with Ash. Nothing can change my mind about the fact that this was one of the greatest Pokemon battles. Now for Season 12, DP Galactic Battles. This one's going to be interesting, because this came down to a tie between two. I couldn't decide which one I liked more than the other, and I didn't really want to get rid of either one, so I decided to plop them together. And the ones that were tied was Brandon versus Paul and Ash versus Paul. Let's start with Paul versus Brandon. Paul wanted to get revenge on Brandon because of the fact that his older brother was his hero, and he went from league to league, region to region, and he was by far one of the greatest trainers. Then he lost one battle, a battle against Brandon, without defeating a single one of Brandon's Pokemon, and he decided to give up being a trainer, which made Paul really, really bitter. So he decided to not only focus on power and brutal training, but also thought about getting revenge on Brandon for making his brother do this. So he decided to have a full 6-on-6 battle, just like Reggie did with Brandon. And just like what happened with Reggie, Paul lost the battle without defeating a single one of Brandon's Pokemon. But still, the battle was hype. That battle was definitely very emotional, because it made Paul rethink his battling style. He still believed in his old philosophies, but he also picked up a new style. Think about your opponent, learn their Pokemon and their battle strategies. Then, build your team to counteract it. And that's exactly what he did with the next battle that I'm going to be talking about. The battle between Ash versus Paul at Lake Acuity. By far, one of the greatest Pokemon battles ever. Both sides definitely came prepared for this battle. You can tell because Ash knew that Paul was probably going to be using Torterra. So he formulated a battle strategy with Gliscor, because he's seen Torterra battle several times in the past. He knew his battling style very, very well. So he used Sand Attack to lower his accuracy, because Torterra's battling style is to absorb attacks to then wait for an opening and hit the opening with a very giant attack to make sure that the opponent goes down and stays down. So, Gliscor cleverly used Sand Attack, so that way any attack that Torterra throws its way will not land. And then Gliscor can use the sand to his own advantage to get in close and deal a very, very deadly blow against Torterra, because both X-Scissor and Fire Fang were super effective. And you can tell Paul was prepared because Reggie mentioned that he selected his Pokemon team based on every single Pokemon battle Ash and Paul have had from past to present. And he selected his team very, very well, because he selected Pokemon that Ash has battled before, as well as his brand new evolved Pokemon Magmortar, which was evolved from Magmar. And he definitely was prepared for pretty much anything that came his way. Not to mention the fact that he cleverly used Honchkrow, because of the fact that he knew that Ash was going to use Grottle at some point. So, he waited for Grottle to come out to then switch out to Honchkrow, because he knew, because of his last battle, because basically Turtwig faced Honchkrow in the past, Turtwig evolved into Grottle. Grottle didn't know how to take on Honchkrow because he didn't know how to use his powers correctly, so Honchkrow took out Grottle with little effort. So Grottle got angry and wanted to basically get revenge. Ash agreed, they battled, Grottle got his ass kicked again. Now for Season 13, Sinnoh League Victors. And I'm sure you know where this is going, but the best battle from that was Ash vs Paul at the Sinnoh League. Now I know this is the third time I'm talking about Ash vs Paul, but the battles between Paul were the best. Allow it, come on. I've been waiting for this battle for a very long time when it first came out. I knew it would happen eventually, but I didn't know when. But I knew when it did happen, it was going to be one of the greatest Pokemon battles in the history of anime. And I was right, because to this day, it is still my favourite Pokemon battle in the entirety of the Pokemon anime. Now we're getting into the garbage heap of the Pokemon anime. Let's start things off with Season 14, Black and White. Now, I've got to say, there wasn't really many battles that I thoroughly enjoyed in this season, or in any of the bits of the Black and White anime. I've even got a friend who adores Gen 5 games, but hates the Gen 5 anime. And I don't personally blame him. The Gen 5 anime was awful. But there were some alright battles. So in this season, I would say the best battle would be Ash versus Iris. Now this battle was interesting. Like I said, there wasn't really any battles that I loved in Season 14. This was just probably like the most climactic battle in this season. It was the first time that Ash and Iris ever had a Pokemon battle, and it was Pikachu versus Excadrill. Now, I could already tell who was going to win this battle right from the start, because think about it. Excadrill is a ground and steel type. Electric type moves won't do anything, so Thunderbolt and Electro Ball were out the window. So the only moves that were left was Quick Attack and Iron Tail. But guess what? Quick Attack and Iron Tail aren't very effective against Excadrill. While Excadrill had two moves that were super effective against Pikachu. Dig and Drill Run. So therefore, the battle was pretty one-sided. And now for Season 15, Rival Destinies. Now, there's definitely one battle that I thought was alright out of all of them. And I'm sure you know which one's coming if you know Season 15 fairly well. I'm going to be going with Ash versus Roxy. This is definitely a first of its kind. A battle where the challenger has more advantage over the gym leader. A 6-on-3 Pokemon battle. Roxy was so confident in her skills, she managed to keep up with Ash, even though she had 3 more Pokemon than Roxy. Didn't exactly help matters either that her coughing was so goddamn strong. Like, coughing took out Boldore and Unpheasant. But personally, I'm not surprised by that because of the fact that Boldore and Unpheasant were extremely weak. Then somehow, Ash managed to beat Coughing with a Grass type, whose moves were ineffective against the Poison type, and Poison type moves were super effective against it. Why did you use Leavanny? Just didn't make sense. This battle was very interesting, but at the same time, it was a bit odd. I don't know. Still, it was a bit of a love and hate relationship with this battle, but I couldn't really find any other battles that I liked more, so I decided to just go with that one. Now for Season 16. I cannot remember the name of it. I shall put it somewhere because I just cannot remember it. Probably should have checked before I clicked on this clip. But, like with the last one, wasn't too many battles that I really enjoyed. Because I hated the climactic battle for Season 16. That being Ash vs Cameron. That was by far my least favourite of all. But I did find something that was alright. That being Ash vs Iris in the Pokemon World Tournament Junior Cup. Yo guys, so my dumbass failed to remember that this battle happened in Season 15, not Season 16. So I'm going to replace it with Ash vs Iris, that being, Charizard versus Dragonite, kind of because Ash's Charizard made a comeback and it was kind of cool to watch Charizard fight Dragonite. And now for Season 17, X and Y. Now there wasn't too many battles that were out of the ballpark amazing, but there was one battle that I thought was pretty good, and that was the gym battle between Ash and Karina. This battle definitely was quite waited for. It was a very, very good battle. First off, we have Ash trying to be like Tieno for whatever reason, to then realise the battling strategy didn't work, so he went back to his old battling style, which then worked. Bit odd, but the battle was pretty clean, to be fair. Plus, the battle between Ash and Lucario, that battle was a beast. Absolute beast. Plus, it was the first time that not only Pikachu defeated a Lucario, but it also managed to defeat its Mega Evolved form. that was quite a proud accomplishment if you ask me. Next up is Season 18, X and Y Carlos Quest. Now there were some pretty decent battles in this. I don't feel like the battles in Carlos Quest was a lot better than in Season 17. But I had to pick one, and it was quite a no-brainer. I decided to pick Ash vs Olympia. I always had a feeling that Ash's Froakie was a very special Pokemon. And when we get to Olympia, she confirmed that his Frogadier at the time was a very special Pokemon. And then the gym battle came out. Frogadier was obviously part of it, and then for some reason Ash decided to use Talonflame. Then the battle kicked off, and it was a brilliant battle. Brilliant teamwork, great strategy, even Pikachu somewhat got involved, keeping track of when Future Sight would hit. And the battle was brilliant. Not to mention that final Psyshock where Frogadier was blocking it with its Water Pulse and waiting for the correct time to power up its Water Pulse, and saw early signs of its Ash Greninja form. Then fired off the Water Pulse, and it was a done deal. By far one of the most hype moments in probably the X and Y anime. And now for Season 19, X, Y, and Z. We all know what's coming, let's just get it out of the way. My favourite battle from that is also my second favourite battle in the entire Pokemon anime. That being Ash vs Alan in the Carlos League. When we saw the Mega Evolution specials, I'm sure a lot of people wanted to see a battle between Ash and Alan. And once the first episode aired, it has been confirmed that Alan and Ash would meet. And when they met, oh boy, did they have a very strong rivalry. Not to mention, we wanted to see a full 6-on-6 Pokemon battle between these two. And what better way of doing it than in the Carlos final round of the Carlos League. It was quite a hype battle. I even remember watching it when I was around my mate David's house. I watched the first part around his, and I was hyped. It was an absolute goat of a battle. But the absolute best part was Ash Greninja versus Mega Charizard. Holy crapo! That thing was a beast. Like, it was by far the greatest battle ever. And just like everybody else, I'm confident that if Alan never showed, Ash would have won. I'm confident in saying that. Still, it was a great battle. And I honestly couldn't see who was going to win. The battle was so even, it was hard to determine. And now for Season 20, Sun and Moon. Now, this is by far the second worst anime in Pokemon. But, still, it did have some alright battles. And probably my favourite from Season 20 was Ash versus Olivia. I definitely think this was quite an interesting battle. Like, I honestly, well, obviously when I saw Ash winning this battle, who didn't? But, I don't know, I just kind of really enjoyed this battle. Like, to be honest with you, there wasn't really too many other battles I could put in, but I just decided to pick the best one that I could find. And Ash vs Olivia, I think, was the best one that I could find. Because Rockruff versus Lycanroc, I definitely think that was quite an interesting battle. Because Ash did the same movements and fought alongside Rockruff. I definitely think that was quite an interesting concept. And now it's time for Season 21, Ultra Adventures. Now this battle was quite a no-brainer for me. I decided to go with Ash versus Nanu. Ash versus Nanu definitely was a very good fight. I was a big fan of Ash's Lycanroc. So, I was keeping my fingers crossed that he would win the battle. But I didn't realise he was going to be literally the main star of the battle. Literally. Like, Nanu said, pick one Pokemon only. I'm going to be using 3. And you have to beat all 3. Have fun! And I was like, what? Excuse me? Yeah, that was rather interesting. But still, the fact that he managed to pull out a win, that was impressive. And now it's time for Season 22, Ultra Legends. Well, I'm sure you know what's coming, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. I think the best battle from that season was Ash vs Kukui. I really wanted to see how a battle between Ash vs Kukui would have gone. Because in the second episode, we were about to see Ash vs Kukui, but Tapu Koko interrupted it and say, you know what, bitch? Fight me! Yeah, that was quite damper, if I'm being honest. Then we saw the battle between Ash vs Kukui, and it was absolutely brilliant. Every battle, every Pokemon, it was absolutely phenomenal. Then the battle between Torracat versus Incineroar, that was GOAT. Like, either side definitely could have won. And the fact that after the battle, Ash's Torracat evolved in Incineroar, that was amazing. Just wish we could have saw what Torracat was like when it evolved into an Incineroar in battle. Because after it evolved, it knocked itself out. Which really annoyed me, because I wanted to see what its power was made of. But I don't think I ever will see how powerful it is in battle anymore. Still, it was a very, very good battle. And now for Season 23, Pokemon The Journey. Now, I have to admit, there wasn't many battles that I thoroughly enjoyed. Sorry. But I decided to go with a bit of a vanilla choice. I decided to go with Ash vs Leon. The exhibition battle between Ash vs Leon definitely was very, very good. To be honest, it was pretty much the only battle that I kind of enjoyed. Sorry. Still, it was a great battle nonetheless. Like, I was quite astounded over the results. Like, that battle definitely could have gone either way, but the creators had to make Leon unbeatable, so Charizard had to say bye-bye Felicia and take out Pikachu with very little effort. But still, it was a great battle nonetheless. And the final season that I'm going to be talking about is Season 24. You guys may have been here for a matter of minutes, but I've been here for a matter of hours. So I'm very happy to be talking about this final season. Alright, in Season 24, I think the best battle is Ash vs Bee. I didn't really think much of the first two battles between Ash vs Bee. They were alright, nothing to write home about, but they were very good. But the third battle they had, that was epic. Like, that battle, I definitely think, was very unpredictable. Like, the team members were definitely well chosen. Like, I could easily rewatch that battle over and over again. Like, I loved that battle, especially Machamp versus Mega Lucario. The main reason I love this battle so much is because the first time we ever saw Ash's Mega Lucario. Holy crap, that thing was a beast! And if I remember correctly, that was also the same time that Lucario learnt Steel Beam? Don't quote me on that, I think it is. Still, that was an amazing battle. By far the best battle in that season, without a doubt. And now then guys, hope you enjoyed the video as much as I did. Be sure to let me know down in the comment section below if you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it, if you agreed with any of the placements I put on this list. If you have your own favourite battles, let me know. If you think I misranked a battle, and if you have any video suggestions for the future, be sure to let me know down in the comment section below. Did you enjoy the video as much as I did making it? If you did, be sure to give it a massive thumbs up, comment down below, share this video with a friend, and if you're new, subscribe to my channel. It's been Inferno today. Okay, that's all from me, so until the next time, this is Infernate, signing off. Bye!